guys, it's Danielle over at DIYDanielle.com, and today I'm here to show you how to convert a onesie into a simple t-shirt. Now this is super simple. You are going to need a couple things. You're going to need some scissors and your onesie, and that's it. Now if you want to, if you like to sew, you can use a sewing machine, or you can use a cover stitch machine, which I'll show you how to use. You could also use a serger if you own one. So I'm going to show you some of your options here for transition or moving it into turning the onesie into a t-shirt. Okay, so many of you may have less than a love of onesies. Sometimes they can be a little bit of a pain, and a t-shirt makes a little bit more sense. Now, if you cloth diaper, one of the issues with onesies is that for this to pull down over the cloth diaper, which obviously takes up a little bit more room than a disposable, it sometimes pulls the neckline down a little bit. Not only that, but the onesie doesn't fit for as long as it would if you were using a disposable. So a lot of times we just size up, but one of the things you can do is just convert it really easily into a t-shirt. And guys, this is so simple. First of all, when you're working with a onesie, I think all of the time, but I'm pretty much, if the fabric has stretch, you're working with a knit. Knits, the nice thing about them is they don't fray. Now, if you're not familiar, fraying is when you have a fabric and it starts to get, let's see if I have an example. Here's a perfect example. So this is fraying right here. So as you can see, there's little pieces of string. What's happening is this is a woven fabric, and when they make the fabric, well, it's woven. So you have pieces this way and you have strings this way, and it's put together like that. So when you wash it and the edges aren't finished, the edges start to come apart a little. And if you were to take this piece of fabric, which is just a scrap, but if you were to continue washing this, you would notice that it slowly had the pieces coming apart, or if you were wearing a lot. However, with knit fabrics, I'm actually not quite sure how these are made, how the fabric's made, but it does not fray like that. So let me show you. So this is a knit fabric. This is actually now let me show you one that's easier to see. Let's see if I can find one. Okay. Here's a Christmas knit that I have, and it's actually a cotton knit. And as you can see, there's no fraying along the edges. There's no like little strings hanging off or anything. So different fabrics will fray different amounts, but knit fabrics tend to be pretty good. Things like fleece, you can pretty much cut and just leave a raw edge. So in this case, we have our onesie here, and all we need to do to make this into a t-shirt is to cut straight across. Now you can definitely get more scientific about this and measure everything out and make sure it's perfect. I'm just going to cut straight across here. Now, you can save these. This is actually kind of a fun idea, but you could save these and make onesie extenders, which a lot of people love. I will probably save these for that. But for this, now we have a t-shirt. Now, if you were going to keep it like this, which is an option, I would just go ahead and finish up these edges a little, just to make them look a little neater. You can see there's a couple little pieces just because I cut a little crooked. But you have a few options to finish the edge. So one, you can leave it as is. The second option is to get hem tape, which is tape that you iron on, and you iron it. It's double-sided tape, and you just iron it like this so that you have a nice finished edge. Super simple, nothing complicated about it. Okay, So you have a couple more options. You can take a sewing machine and do the same thing. Again, you turn over the edge, you press it with an iron, and then you just sew a straight stitch across. Actually, for this you probably want to use a zigzag stitch or some sort of stretch stitch that your machine has. Because it's a knit fabric, you want the stitch to be able to stretch as well. Okay? Your other option is you can take a serger and take some black thread and just serge right around the edge. Your next option is to use a cover stitch machine, and that's what I'm going to use today. And what a cover stitch machine does is it creates the finish that you see on a lot of store-bought products. So you'll notice that if you take your clothing and your store-bought clothing, you can flip up the edges. Let me see if I have a good example. Oh, here's a good example. I'll show you this here. So you'll see, let's see if I can get this to show you. Okay, you see this edge? There is a double stitch. It's hard to see the double stitch, but there's 1 and 2. There's 2 stitches here. And then on the other side, you see this kind of fancy stitch here. Now, some store-bought shirts will put that fancy stitch on this side and the double stitch on this side. It just depends on the company and what they decide to do. So that's what we're going to do right now. Okay, before I finish it with my cover stitch, I just want to iron. I fold it over the edges, and I'm going to use my easy press here. Okay, with a cover stitch machine, we have 3 different threads, I can decide whether I want to put the fancy stitching on the top or just the double stitch. I am going to put I think I'll put the double stitch on the top. So the double stitch is the one that goes on whatever's facing up. So all I'm going to do is go ahead and run around this. Very, very easy. You want to make sure you're not stretching it while you're doing this. Okay. You put your needle at the highest setting, lift up your foot, and you need to press these 2 things to the side. You are going to cut your top stitches, and then do that again and pull it loose. Now the thing about this is you do, at least with my machine, I have a really affordable version, you do have to tie off these strings. Okay, and that's all there is to it. As you can see, we get a nice finished edge and a t-shirt.